This is Gil McAllister for GRTV. I'm here with Walt from Sega.
Hi.
To talk about Anarchy Reigns. Now what we're going to do first is we're going to show you some video and then we'll talk about it. Yeah, a little bit crazy. That's what you come to expect from Platinum Games. Well, explain what the hell was going on in that.
Anarchy Reigns.
Elongate that answer, please.
Well, Anarchy Reigns is a multiplayer online brawler, meaning that what you just saw was based on on Battle Royale game mode, which is with 8 players. We've shown a match of 8 players fighting it out with each other, against each other, in complete anarchy. I think that kind of sums it up.
And we've seen a few familiar faces there. We're seeing a few characters that have actually appeared before in Mad World.
Yes.
But this wouldn't be right to say this is Mad World Mark II, no?
No, Mad World was a completely different game. What Platinum Games thought when they came up with the concept of this game, they already had the character of Jack from Mad World, and they thought like the character Jack would go really well in this game. And the same with Matilda and Black Baron, who is now back as well. And they are each character comes with its own set of moves. There's also 3 other characters which were not in Mad World, which just highlights the fact this is not Mad World 2. This is a completely different title, which are Sasha, which is our Queen of Ice. We've got Big Bull, who was actually also Mad World, but is now super powered with a jet hammer on his back, which you can use as a weapon as well as a transportation mode. And we've got Zero, our cyber ninja, with his 2 very special swords. So each of those characters is fully playable and online multiplayer, so pick whoever you want. There will be more.
But we cannot reveal those today. We cannot talk about those today for another time.
Exactly.
But I was thinking, just looking at the gameplay we've seen at the various trailers that have been released thus far, it does sort of remind me a lot of Power Stone, that absolutely awesome arena-based 4-player in Power Stone 2, 2-player in Power Stone 1. Before anybody writes in and complains that I'm getting this wrong, brawler from Capcom. Something similar? Does that ring a bell?
I can't really answer that question from PG's perspective, as I work for Sega and not for Platinum Games. But I see the resemblance myself as well. However, what Platinum Games always does is make things bigger and better, and I think that's what you expect from Anarchy Reigns as well. You just saw 8 players fighting it out to each other. I can't reveal how big it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be bigger.
Okay, well, can you talk to us about the ATE events? ATE, did I get that right?
The Action Trigger events.
Thank you very much.
As you've seen in the footage earlier on and in the trailers, the trailer will come out in a few days, or has just come out, depending on when this is going to air.
Continuity just, who cares? Go on, but
anyway. It's basically events that happen during a match of Battle Royale, and maybe in some of the other game modes we can't talk about yet. But what will happen is, for example, a tsunami will ride in and completely eviscerate everybody on the playing field. It will, or jets will fly over and drop bombs on you. We've got some more ATEs that we will reveal in the future, which will blow everybody's mind, and it basically shakes up the gameplay a little bit. So, for example, if you think you're winning, then suddenly you get hit by a bomb from a jet plane that flew over, and they'll be introduced in a very nice way while the gameplay, so you always know when they're happening and why and how, so you always know what to be careful of.
And you sort of talked to me earlier on about the fact that these ATs usually are specific to whoever the leading player is in the match.
Yeah, it depends on the ATE. They all have a different kind of working to them, but they're all randomized, so you'll never know when they're going to happen or what's going to happen. So it's it's very it's anarchy. That's all I can say.
Well, can you just sort of explain to us why now Platinum Games are sort of stepping into the multiplayer market? I mean, obviously not without Vanquish, without Bayonetta. Multiplayer is something they've sort of shied away from before. Does this just feel like the right time?
I wouldn't say that Platinum Games has shied away from multiplayer. I think the Bayonetta and Vanquish, which you just mentioned, were just not right for multiplayer. But what Platinum Games is known for is to getting a genre and lifting it out and making it better and making it special, as they did with Vanquish, as they did with Bayonetta. And I think this time it's multiplayer's turn to be shaken up. We've all played shooters online. We all know what that experience is like. So many out there. But how many brawlers are there you can play with that many people online? There's none. So Platinum Games is going to do it again.
And obviously, if we're talking about, we've seen the multiplayer modes. There's obviously story mode. There's also co-op mode, which is survival. Can you just sort of talk to us about that? As I understand it, it's sort of like a little bit like horde mode in terms of basically a group of players and a ton load of enemies just coming at you wave after wave.
Exactly. So survival mode is one of the co-op modes in the game. The co-op modes will all be online based as well. So for example, so what Platinum Games wanted to do is to deliver multiple experiences, basically give people content. Co-op is a really good example of that. The survival mode, which we've shown, throws in wave after wave of enemies, but all the enemies are different as well, have their own different aspects. So you won't be fighting just more of the same enemies, but you'll be fighting different enemies with all different types, different tactics that you need to use. And you have to be very careful which team of characters you and your friends choose, because as Inaba-san said in this presentation, each character has its own strengths and weaknesses. So you'll have Big Bull, which is obviously a big character. He's a lot slower than, for example, Matilda, who's very lean and very quick. So, but she's not as powerful as he is. So there's a very fine balance. And you have to be very careful which characters you pick when you go into the survival mode.
And again, from the presentation videos we've seen, these maps are huge. They're multi-level and stuff. Is that the design aspect that gives you such a huge area to sort of work your way across?
Well, the map you've seen in the demo is indeed a huge map with different levels, and each level has kind of its own theme to it as well. So, for example, on the lower level, there was a lot of mutants there that will attack the players as well as they're fighting each other. On the higher levels, of course, you've got little smaller areas and smaller platforms where you're more in a closer environment. There's also some inside areas where you can fight it out, where you might bump into some other enemies, and you might get hit by different ATEs there, etc., etc. So it's all very dynamic.
Okay, well, is there anything else you think we should know before we wrap up?
Let me think.
About Anarchy Reigns.
There is a lot to know about Anarchy Reigns. I think if anybody wants to have a new sort of online experience, please give Anarchy Reigns a try, because it's absolutely a platinum game, and it's really cool. Just have a go and give it a chance, because it's an experience you won't get from any other title.
So Platinum Games, Platinum seal of approval then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you too.
Guys, go and check the video. Go read our previews, and we'll talk to you soon.